Now what we're going to be doing is, as we're looking at some of those time frames, we want to start figuring out how are we going to fit this into 180 hours. So this is where our ranking, and I have Vanna White over here. Thank you, Vanna. What we're going to be doing is we want to make sure that we're hitting all of those things that are ranked as ones. And so we need to tally all of those up because we know to be a UCAG course, we're looking for that 180 hours. So let's identify all of those large chunks that are ones to figure out, okay, now how much time do we have for some of our twos? How much time do we have for some of our threes? And so start doing the math to figure out what are we going to be offering within this 180-hour course. I'm going to give you guys 10 minutes to work on that till 11:05. Questions before I turn you guys loose. All right. Now that we've looked at doing some sequencing, we're going to be looking at identifying resources. So now these aren't necessarily going to be resources that are specific to this 10-hour chunk of information or resources that are specific to a 20-hour chunk. It's overall what sort of resources should our students be exposed to while they're in my classroom. So we might look at some trade journals, some online resources. What I'm going to ask you to do is, because these resources are not endemic to just one small section, it's comprehensive for your entire curriculum. I'm going to have you write that down on this bottom section down here to say the resources that are going to be applicable for this course curriculum are going to be some specific trade journal, or it's going to be access to a computer lab. Whatever those things that are going to be necessary, I'm going to have you write those down. I want to just kind of pause temporarily and kind of just do a real big picture of what we're talking about and just kind of remind you guys and kind of ground you guys within the context. What we're working on today is a template to be integrated into a brand new course outline. This in and of itself is not going to be the final document for your course outline. This is going to be the tool that says, okay, Valley View now has a brand new form of what the course outline looks like. We're going to take the information from here. We're going to take the resources. Now that we have our little ranking off to the side of this is what happens during the first 4 weeks, and this is what's going to happen in the second 3 weeks. Once we know all those things, that's going to be in our new course outline. So this is really just a template that's going to help us with creating that. So I just wanted you guys to have that big picture. Now once again, our function today is to transfer the knowledge. So we're going through the guided practice component right now, and then we're going to go through and provide you guys time during the summer to come in during a 4-day window. So during that 4-day window, you could decide, hey, you and I teach the same subject. Let's go in there on Tuesday at 9 o'clock in the morning. And you guys can come over to the Valley View offices. Ed Services will be there. And we'll take you through doing start to finish, the nuts to bolts of let's create this template. Now that we have this template, we're going to look at integrating that into the course outline. The course outline integration is actually going to start this month in our ISC meetings. So in our ISC meetings, we're going to look at workshopping this a little bit further, going in depth for things that are going to be more specific, and then using that time to create that big course outline that is coming. So I just want you to understand the big picture that this is the step to get us to there. And then we're going to provide you guys with, I said there's a window of opportunity, and then in the folders that you guys have, there's a half sheet of paper that has dates and times when you guys can just kind of figure out, what works in my schedule. I can come in on a Wednesday at this time, and so we're going to be there available for you guys. But ultimately, we're starting the new year with a brand new set of course outlines. So I want you guys to have an input on what's going to be involved in that. You guys are the content experts. You guys know your trade better than anybody else in this room. And so that's really why it's critical that you guys are involved in developing that course outline. So what we're going to be doing for the next 5 minutes is just identifying specific resources, generic resources that we're going to list on the bottom of this. Questions so far? Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
Are we talking about textbooks as well, workbooks?
Textbooks, workbooks, yes.
Videos?
Yes. Michael.
When you're thinking about research, remember the term real life, real world. Beyond the textbook, what helps them understand something? Every now and then the Wall Street Journal has an article on construction in America. Should they be reading a short article that says, here are the trends in construction? Should they be looking at charts and graphs? Should they have access to experts in a field, someone who's inventing a new tool in your area, a new constitutional change in law enforcement that might impact some of those things. So you're going beyond the textbook, trying to develop depth and complexity. What's the variety of materials that kids could look at that would bring your course to life and make it more meaningful? You're not going to spend tons of hours on the Wall Street Journal, but a short article might at least ask them to think about another type of source that gives them background. Are you doing something to the history of your course? Are you doing something to the development of your course? Are you doing a new invention in the course? Or do you find those types of materials that go beyond the textbook?
All right, so go ahead and take the next couple of minutes to start identifying some of those generic resources for your entire course.
Okay, so what we want to do is we want to start, I know, I'm just so loud normally. We want to start recognizing and celebrating the success of our students. And we want not only our students to see some of the fruits of their labor and to see that they're being recognized, but also our supporting districts to see that, you know what, we're recognizing our students' victories and we want to celebrate them with the students and their families, and also with their counselors and superintendents. We're inviting a number of dignitaries, and hopefully they'll all be there as well. So what we want to tell you is that the ceremony will take place at the Highlander Auditorium at Upland High School. Bill Cox, if you can raise your hand. Bill is making all of this possible down there. He has a great set of students who are going to help us to run the whole thing. And so it will start at 6 p.m. And what we're looking for are our nomination forms. All of your folders should have them in there. Our staff has worked very hard to make sure these are in there. Some of you have already started turning them in. Thank you so much. Okay. What we're looking for, there's a few different questions are on here. It'll be your information, students' information, and they'll have a few questions to answer as well. Okay. So those should be in there. Yes, I would like to have these. We would like to have these before you leave today, as far as your nominations and your student names. If they need to fill out and answer those questions, let's get them back as soon as possible, because we need to send out invitations to their families and to their career techs and make sure everybody who's connected to them is invited as well. So we want that done as soon as possible.
Now, the teachers strictly do this.
The teachers are strictly doing this, yes ma'am. So I think in the past it was the career techs, but we're having the teachers do it. Okay, so. Okay. Yeah, we would also like photos sent of the students, sorry Forrest, preferably in action while they're doing their skills, things that you're teaching them. It would be really neat. And we want to do kind of a photo montage and have the students appear and in their industries. So all of you should have already turned in your new student information or packets at the beginning of your term, the photo releases. If you don't have those, please let me know and I can get them out to you to make sure that we have permission to run those photos. And that's it. You can email them to me, Christine_Thomas@bvrop.org, and then that way we can include your student as well.
All right, thank you very much, ladies. Now we could have Chris come up and talk about the end of the year information that you guys have, some of the documents that are in your handout.
Gonna go across to it?
That's just a draft.
Okay, I've been told to rush. Two things I'm going to talk about. One, the proposed calendar. The proposed calendar for next year. This is in GBA, meaning it is not a firm calendar for next year, but it's something that you can work off of in order to plan out vacations and other things you want to do. As soon as this has been updated, I'm sure that that will probably happen sometime in the coming month or two. It will be emailed out to you and it will be the permanent schedule. The most important thing, other than that ticket that's in your packet, is this checkout sheet. This checkout sheet needs to be completed by every instructor at the conclusion of this school year. It is a two-sided thing. It needs to be turned in to either myself or Roseanne. My gander is that this form is not turned in. There may be a delay in your final check for the school year. So it's behooves you to start on these as we get closer to the end of the year and make sure that all the information that's required for checkout is completed. The last one, Forrest alluded to it.
The sign-up sheet. Do we have to go around and get each person's little signature on this, do that?
Yes.
Okay.
And if you don't know who those people are, because it has their title, just let me know and I'll let you know who that person is. This is the.
There's a question over
Maureen.
here.
I'm sorry, down here where it says all electronic devices are laptops, if we're expected to do all of this work during the summer, we're not gonna have our laptops to be able to do it.
You can check it in and check it out, but we do have to check it out for each of the summer.
Okay.
So it's more of a check-in, we have it, and then we check it back out to you, and it's actually being checked out for the next year.
Okay. Thank you.
You guys hear a question? Those of you with laptops, we just need to check it in so we can check it back out to you for the 14-15 school year.
I would like all the laptops to be checked in so that I can clean them up and install updated
Oh, yeah.
software and stuff on it. So that's why we're turning them in.
Yeah, those of you who didn't hear, the big reason why you need to check them in is that Logan's going to be re-imaging them all and putting the newest Office on them to make sure that he's able to service you better next year. So you do need to bring them to him to make sure you can service them and get them back out to you.
And what we can do is we may hold on to it for a week or two and prioritize some of them to get them back out to you. So if you communicate to that, we'll work with you guys individually.
I think he might plan on, you may not get the same laptop back because they're all going to be the same, right?
Yeah, they'll all be
Yeah, they're all going to be identical, so he might have a check-in, check-out. We'll let you know as we get closer. Last one. These are the dates. This is the little sheet that Forrest was referring to on dates to work on your outline. Make sure you hold on to that. Do they need an RSVP?
Nope, just show up.
Just show
We're
it.
here.
Make sure you hold on to that. Don't lose it. That's it. Unless anyone has any questions. Yes, ma'am.
There was a question on our table about how many days that you were supposed to come for that?
It's going to be on an as-needed basis.
Oh, so it's like one of the four?
So yeah, if you could do it in half a day, and come on a half a day. If you need 2 days, come 2 days.
Any other questions? Anyone who does not want their ticket, I will take those now. I offer.
Okay, can everybody hear me? Yes? I think I'm good. Real quickly, because I know we're on a time crunch. We all know that an important part of redoing our course outlines and contributing to our course outlines are the advisors to our programs, the industry input. So some of you have received emails with what we used to call a nomination form for your advisory board, for our advisory board. And in your packet, there is a hard copy with 5 places to put your advisors on here for the invites. We have been able to create a meeting similar to how we used to. Teachers who have been here before, we are going to have one big advisory meeting, which is a really good thing, but it's coming up rather quickly. So you have a save the date paper in here for Thursday, April 3rd at 6:30 here in this office. Since we are on such a time crunch, we need to ask that you guys please put your advisors' addresses and names on here and return to Yohoska by next week on the 13th, which I think is Thursday already. I know that's fast, but we just need the names and addresses. Okay? It's nice to have one big one. We will provide dinner for all of your advisors, similar to how we used to do. And if you have any questions, you can direct them to myself, Chris, or Yohoska. Yes? Could you have it on SharePoint is your question? I don't think, Chris, where are you? I don't think it's on SharePoint, but we could put it there, correct? Yes. Okay, we will do that. Yes. You come also. Other quick questions? Okay, thank you.
All right, everyone. So is it on? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay. So at this time, we're about to wrap up. We're in the last 15, 16 minutes in our home stretch. So of course, this is the time when we have the most to do. So in your packet, you should see a form. It says closure on it. 3 positive statements regarding the path that Baldy View is taking. You want to take the next 5 minutes and 5 minutes only, and we are counting down, for you to write 3 positive statements about, or 3 statements about the direction that we're taking. What have you learned in this process? Where do you think we're going? Where do you hope we're going? Your big reflections, not just today, can't be about today, but really about what the path is and where we're going and what we've been doing and where we're hoping to end up. Okay, so thank you very much for this. We hope you've appreciated and enjoyed the experience. We thank you for being here. We have a couple of other last minute things and then we're almost out. We have Carla, our Director of Business Services, is going to come in, and we are wanting to provide you some information with respect to our second interim report that's due budget-wise. And then after Carla concludes her remarks, then we have the raffle. Yay! Yay! And I'll make sure Dora does that. She's actually got some really nice prizes, so I'd stick around.
Thank you. Do you have to push
No,
anything?
you're good. Just talk.
Okay, my name's Carla Roberts. I'm your Director of Business Services at the ROP. Next week, on Wednesday, we go to the commission with our second interim budget. Like most school districts, we received a letter from the county, San Bernardino County, who is our oversight entity. They look over everything we do. If they don't like it, they send it back for revision before they submit it to the state. After our first interim report, they told us because, as you know, the governor's budget guarantees funding through the 14-15 school year, they said we would need to submit a contingency plan for the 15-16 school year. Whenever we submit a budget, we project 2 years further out. So our second interim budget will have 13-14, 14-15, and 15-16. So there has to be a contingency for the 15-16 school year. That year, at this time, would not include funding from the districts because we have no guarantee yet. We are guaranteed through next year, so none of the districts really are ready to say how they're going to fund us in that third year out. So our contingency plan will reflect a loss of $7.6 million in revenue. And to take care of that, we're going to show cuts of $4.4 million. Now, how can we operate if we lose $7.6 million in revenue and only cut $4.4 million? We'll be using our ending balance to operate in the 15-16 school year. That's what this contingency plan will show. It's really an exercise on paper because we don't know where we'll be when we get to that year. So, not to panic everybody, but we just wanted to make you aware of what it's going to look like. Now, I believe when we get to the 15-16 school year, by then we'll have funding commitments from our districts. We may be participating in the CTE grant. We have been accepted for accreditation possibility with the Council on Occupational Education. So I'm thinking the 15-16 school year, I'm planning on being here, and I hope you are too. But just wanted to let you know. If you have any questions on what's going to go before the board, because it includes cuts all across the board, you can make an appointment, come see me. I'll be happy to go over anything with you. Thank you.
And so at this time, as we close out, we have some lovely door prizes. All of you should have received a ticket that was stapled in your packet.